It is 4 a.m. The alarm pierces the quiet darkness of your bedroom. Your body is heavy. Your eyes are burning. Every biological instinct, every fiber of your nervous system is quietly begging you for rest. But you do not listen. You throw off the blankets. You step into the freezing water. You force your mind into submission, overriding the exhaustion, because this is what you have been told you must do to be great. You live in a society that has lost its traditional religions, only to replace them with a new, much more ruthless one: the cult of discipline. If you open your phone right now, you will find thousands of voices shouting at you through the screen. They tell you that your lack of success is entirely your fault. They tell you that if you want to be happy, you must conquer your mind. You must punish your weaknesses. You must optimize your morning routine, track every calorie, schedule every minute, and build a fortress of unbroken habits. They tell you that discipline equals freedom. And so you try. You build the spreadsheet, you set the alarms. You treat your own body like a machine that requires tuning, and you treat your own mind like a wild animal that must be broken. But as the days turn into months, a quiet, terrifying realization begins to creep in. You are doing everything right. You are checking all the boxes. You are waking up early, working hard, and maintaining total control over your environment. So why are you so profoundly miserable? Why do you feel like a prisoner in a life you built yourself? Because the self-improvement industry has sold you a devastating lie. They have taught you to mistake self-destruction for self-discipline. To understand the dark side of discipline, you must look at the psychological architecture you are building inside your own head. When you decide to violently discipline yourself, you are fundamentally splitting your psyche into two distinct entities. You become both the master and the slave. One half of you becomes the ruthless tyrant. This is the voice holding the whip. It is the voice that sets the impossible standards, the voice that demands perfection, the voice that tells you that you are worthless if you do not complete the checklist today. The other half of you becomes the prisoner. This is your physical body, your emotions, your natural rhythms, and your intuition. This part of you is forced into endless, grueling labor to satisfy the demands of the tyrant. You have created a state of perpetual psychological warfare inside your own mind. When society looks at you, they praise your work ethic. They admire your consistency. They see someone who is highly driven. But they do not see the internal violence. They do not see that you are constantly negotiating with a dictator. You can never truly relax because the tyrant is always watching. If you sit on the couch for an hour to simply exist, the tyrant immediately begins whispering in your ear, calculating the time you are wasting, reminding you of the potential you are squandering. You are entirely trapped. If you fail to meet your goals, you are overwhelmed by crushing guilt. But if you succeed in meeting your goals, you feel no joy, only the brief, temporary relief of not being punished by your own mind before the tyrant demands more tomorrow. You have built a prison cell out of good habits, and you have thrown away the key.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Why are we so desperate to maintain rigid, unbroken control over our lives? The truth that the hustle culture gurus will never admit is that extreme discipline is rarely a sign of strength. More often than not, it is a highly sanitized, socially acceptable trauma response. We become obsessed with controlling our habits, our bodies, and our schedules because we are utterly terrified of the chaos of the world. If you have experienced deep instability in your life, if you have felt the pain of rejection, the unpredictability of failure, or the sting of not being enough. Your nervous system internalizes a singular message. The world is not safe, and the only way to protect myself is to maintain absolute control. Rigid discipline is an anesthetic. It is a psychological shield. If you plan every minute of your day, you never have to sit in silence and face the grief you have been avoiding. If you exhaust your body in the gym for 3 hours, you do not have the energy left to feel the loneliness waiting for you in your apartment. If you tie your entire sense of self-worth to your productivity, you can temporarily trick yourself into believing that you are immune to the tragic, unpredictable nature of human existence. You are not disciplined. You are just terrified. You are using extreme routines to build a fortress against your own vulnerability. But a fortress designed to keep the pain out is also a fortress that keeps the joy out. By refusing to let the chaos in, you are refusing to let life in.
There is a fatal biological cost to this obsession with control. When you use rigid discipline to dictate your life, you are constantly overriding the physical and emotional signals of your own body. Your body is an ancient, incredibly intelligent organism. It knows exactly what it needs. When it is exhausted, it signals you with fatigue. When a path is wrong for you, it signals you with anxiety. When a relationship is toxic, it signals you with a tightening in your chest. But the cult of discipline teaches you to ignore these signals. It teaches you that your body is weak, that your emotions are obstacles, and that true strength is the ability to push through the pain. When your body says, "I need to rest," the tyrant in your head says, "You are lazy, keep working." When your intuition says, "This career is destroying my soul," the tyrant says, "You are a quitter, keep grinding." Over time, something tragic happens. If you constantly ignore the voice of your intuition, the voice simply stops speaking. You become entirely disconnected from yourself. You lose the ability to know what you actually want. You outsource your internal compass to a spreadsheet, to an algorithm, to the advice of strangers on the internet. This is how people wake up at 40 years old, having achieved every financial and physical goal they set for themselves, only to realize they are standing at the top of a mountain they never actually wanted to climb. They executed the plan perfectly, but the plan was written by a ghost. They sacrificed their humanity on the altar of productivity, and the universe rewarded them with absolute, suffocating emptiness. How do you escape a prison when the walls are made of your own ambition? To find the antidote to the poison of modern discipline, we must look away from the screaming voices of the modern internet and look to the ancient philosophers of the East. Over 2,000 years ago, the Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu introduced a concept that completely shatters the modern obsession with hustle. It is the concept of Wu Wei. Wu Wei translates roughly to non-doing or effortless action. It does not mean laziness. It does not mean lying in bed all day and abandoning your life. It means acting in complete alignment with the natural flow of the universe, rather than trying to violently force the universe to bend to your will. Lao Tzu used the metaphor of water. Water is the softest, most yielding substance on the planet. It does not have a rigid morning routine. It does not exert violent discipline to cut through a mountain. It simply flows. When it meets a rock,
It does not try to smash through it. It effortlessly flows around it. And yet, over time, the soft, yielding water will carve a canyon through the hardest stone. Water conquers precisely because it does not fight. Wu Wei is the understanding that brute force is the most inefficient way to move through life. When you watch a master artist paint or a brilliant musician play, they are not forcing the art out of themselves through rigid discipline. They are deeply relaxed. They are in a state of flow. The brilliance happens not because they are tightly gripping the brush, but because they have surrendered to the music. The greatest things in life, love, inspiration, deep sleep, and true happiness, cannot be achieved through discipline. You cannot aggressively force yourself to fall asleep. The harder you try, the more awake you become. You can only fall asleep by surrendering. You cannot force someone to love you through sheer effort. You can only create the space for love to happen. By trying to violently control your life, you are choking the life out of it.
It is time to fire the tyrant in your head. It is time to end the psychological civil war that has kept you exhausted for years. You do not need to punish yourself to be worthy of a good life. You do not need to earn your right to exist through relentless, unbroken productivity. What if the ultimate rebellion in a hyper-optimized, obsessed, and burned-out world is to simply embrace softness? To wake up and ask your body what it actually needs today, rather than looking at a list of demands. To take a walk without tracking your steps. To read a book without trying to extract a life hack from it. To sit in a quiet room and allow yourself to feel the grief, the anxiety, or the joy that you have been successfully outrunning for a decade. This is infinitely harder than waking up at 4 a.m. to take an ice bath. It is easy to be hard. It is easy to numb yourself with a rigid routine. It requires profound courage to drop the shield. It requires immense bravery to trust yourself enough to know that if you let go of the steering wheel, your life will not instantly fall apart. Your value as a human being is not calculated by your output. You are not a machine. You are a biological, breathing, feeling creature. You will have days of brilliant energy, and you will have days of deep, necessary hibernation. Both are sacred. Both are required. Stop fighting the current. Stop trying to conquer your own mind. The war is over. You can put down the whip. You are finally allowed to rest.